A new rumor claims that Pedro Pascal was tapped to play Reed Richards in Fantastic Four because Kevin Feige thought the cast was, quote, way too white. This rumor comes from scooper Jeff Snyder. It comes in the wake of reports that Pedro Pascal has been tapped to play Reed Richards, or is at least in significant discussions to play him. As I said, this rumor comes from scooper Jeff Snyder, who detailed that Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige conducted screen tests for Reed Richards before the SAG-AFTRA strike went into effect. The screen tests included Jamie Dornan and Christopher Abbott, but allegedly they did not go well. Marvel Studios then approached Jake Gyllenhaal as well as Adam Driver, but they reportedly wanted too much money. As for the rest of Marvel's first family, Feige and Marvel Studios were happy with Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and Eben Moss-Bachrach as Ben Grimm. Not only was Gyllenhaal reportedly too expensive, but Snyder detailed that Feige, quote, feared that the cast was way too white. In the words of one insider, Reed Richards would be the character eyed to diversify the cast. Enter Pedro Pascal. He and his team reportedly engaged with Feige and Marvel Studios following the strike's conclusion. The two parties came to an agreement with Marvel Studios offering to work with Pascal regarding his schedule for other projects such as The Last of Us, Gladiator 2, and Weapons. So there you have it. That is the rumor from Jeff Snyder. He believed that Reed Richards needed to be diversified. Kevin Feige thought that the cast was way too white. He goes on and says, Snyder goes on and says that he believes that Pascal is now confirmed as Mr. Fantastic. However, it might not be a done deal. We have this report from Deadline's Justin Kroll, who says a deal is far from done. However, Kroll does note that Pascal is in talks with Marvel Studios to take on the role. The main issue with Pascal is scheduling. He says insiders add that scheduling is still being worked out, but multiple sources close to the negotiations are saying it's headed in the right direction for Pascal to do this and his other future projects. Fantastic Four film is expected to begin shooting early next year at Pinewood Studios in the United Kingdom. As for the idea that Kevin Feige would believe the cast is way too white, I think it is plausible. We've seen evidence of this in the past. Feige made it abundantly clear that the reason Eternals was pushed to the front of the company's production schedule is because it changed the characters' race, gender, and sexuality. This is what he told Variety when he asked about it. He says, well, the notion of switching up the gender, sexualities, and ethnicities of the characters from the comics was baked in initially. That was part of what Nate Moore, who's a Marvel Studios producer, was really advocating for in moving Eternals to the top of the list for us to start working on. So clearly changing ethnicities and races, etc., was a priority for Marvel Studios, and that is why they pushed Eternals to the top. He's admitting it. We also know that the Walt Disney Company, Marvel Studios' parent company, has a number of racist casting policies on the books. On the company's Reimagine Tomorrow website, they previously noted that by 2022, 50% of regular and recurring characters across Disney General Entertainment scripted content will come from underrepresented groups. There's a screenshot of that policy. That entry has since been deleted and updated with a new one that reads, we are committed to inspiring a more inclusive world by reimagining the way we tell stories and who tells them. Our intention is to broaden access and diversity in our industry by adopting inclusion standards across Disney General Entertainment and live action studio productions by the end of 2022, with the goal of advancing representation in front of and behind the camera in marketing and more. They then link to ABC Entertainment's inclusion standards, which detail specific quotas their movies and shows must adhere to. It has casting stuff. It has behind the camera stuff. It's all racial quotas. But so I think it's very plausible that this is indeed the case, that he did think it was too white and he wanted to diversify the cast. And going with Pedro Pascal does that because they think that he looks like he looks white, even though he's a Hispanic, or a Latino. So that's what they're doing. This is the Marvel Studios playbook. We've seen them do this over and over again. We have confirmation that that's indeed why they push Eternals to the top. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. And I think this rumor is definitely believable. Whether or not you believe what Jeff Snyder or anything into that fact, I do think there is a plausibility to this because they've done this in the past. But let me know what you think about this. What do you make of what Marvel Studios is doing with the Fantastic Four? I think if they continue to play this playbook, it's just dead on arrival. We see this with the Marvels. There's no way that you can resuscitate the Marvel Cinematic Universe by continuing to embrace woke ideology.
Subscribe for more.